If you're in search of some premium steering components that you can rely on to up the strength and capability of your 2018 or newer JL Wrangler, this Synergy Heavy Duty Steering Kit will be one to check out. Now, this will be a great pick if you're currently working with factory components and want an upgraded replacement if they're starting to show some wear, rather than sticking with an OE style replacement. Now, this pair will also be good to handle extra loads from oversized tires that put a lot of stress on the steering components. Now, your factory ones usually can't handle those extra loads for long periods of time, especially with trail abuse, when this set will, all while increasing your handling and stability. These will be made of a heavy-duty chromoly steel construction and include heavy-duty ball joints on either end to handle force a lot better even if you're wheeling your JL hard. These will also have a great powder coat finish, adding a pretty cool look to the front links while also protecting the steel underneath. Now, the heavy-duty ball joints will also include Zerk fittings on the back for easy maintenance, and the end clamps will feature large, heavy-duty hardware to keep a peace of mind that they're going to stay in place. The drag link here will also be able to convert into a high steer setup while offering a fully adjustable design for fine tuning. When it comes to the price, this kit will come in at roughly $850, putting this at a pretty premium price point. Now, I do like the fact that this will include both the drag link and the tie rod, making this a one-stop shop rather than you having to pair the two together. Also, the fact that this will be able to be used as a high steer setup, giving you some options and the ability to upgrade whenever you need to. Now, comparing to some others on the page, some may not come with the high steer option, some may not be compatible with certain lift heights, or you will have additional components in the kit compared to this, which is pretty simple. You do get the drag link and the tie rod as well as all the hardware. Some other kits come with steering knuckles. Now, overall, I think if you're looking for a solid setup that's going to be able to take a toll on the trail and offer a lot of longevity and the stability that you need on the street, then this is a great pick. Now, install will be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about an hour to get the job done with some pretty basic hand tools. You'll also need to get in alignment after completing this install for the best drivability. And speaking of the install, one of our customers here has installed this on their JL and is going to walk you through what that process looks like. So that wraps it up for me. Let's get into the install.
Okay guys, so here's all the tools that I used for this job. Not too bad. Got 1/2-inch drive impact, made it a lot easier with lug nuts and everything. A little extra light for those hard to see places. Needle nose pliers, fitting your cotter pins into place. Crescent wrench is pretty handy for doing the adjustments on the double adjustment nut on the tie rod and drag links. 1/2-inch torque wrench. Got 21 millimeter, 19 millimeter, 18 millimeter, 13 millimeter, and a 10 millimeter wrench. That way, for the old tie rod, nuts and bolts, everything. Same with the sockets. We've got 22 for the wheels, wheel lock, tape measure for setting your toe. Sharpie actually helps when you're marking your tires, just so you know you're going back to the same spot over and over again. 3/4 inch socket and wrench as well for tightening the clamp bolts. Pickle fork for fighting that drag link off, and a hammer just for pounding everything in. Yeah, pretty simple, not too many tools, and overall pretty easy install.
Alright guys, today we're going to be installing a Synergy tie rod and drag link on a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. So let's get started.
Alright guys, the first step is going to be tie down your steering wheel just to kind of keep everything solid and straight while you're disassembling all your steering components. Just grab yourself a rag, anything you got to kind of protect your steering wheel so you're not scratching it up. Just take a ratchet strap, or if you have a bunch of cord. I just go down to the adjustment bar for the seat. Doesn't have to be too tight, we're just trying to keep it since there's no steering lock on these.
Okay, now that we have the steering tied off, we can go ahead and get it jacked up, put it on some jack stands so we can get the ties off.
that we have it all jacked up on the jack stands, we'll go ahead and pull the tires, grab yourself a 22 millimeter, and just zip them off. All right, now that we got the wheels and tires off, we're gonna go ahead and pull the steering stabilizer off of the tie rod. We'll need an 18 millimeter socket and just zip the nut off of the bottom. Pull the bolt out. Make sure it moves. Sometimes you'll have to use a pry bar to pop it out, depending on how long it's been in. Next, we're gonna grab a 21 millimeter socket and we're gonna break free tie rod bolt. The other side, remove the other tie rod bolt. Sometimes they do spin. There's 2 wrenches. Since the stud is spinning, it's easy enough. Just grab yourself a 21 millimeter wrench and a 10 millimeter. Drop it out. All right, now that we have the tie rod out, we can kind of lay it next to our new one. You definitely see some major differences. They remove the bracket for the steering stabilizer. So when you're installing this, you will end up needing to get steering stabilizer relocation kit. Got double adjusters on the passenger side of it. You notice the joints are way different. These are actually lubable. They come pre-greased, so you do not need to put any grease in when you're installing them. Double check, make sure your boots are actually seated on there really well. This is a double adjuster sleeve, so turning one, once it's on the vehicle, will extend it. Both sides, a lot beefier than the stock tie rod. Should be a big improvement. All right, now that tie rod's out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and finish removing the steering stabilizer. Grab yourself an 18 millimeter socket or wrench and we'll set that aside. We will be reusing that one. Now that the steering stabilizer is off, we'll go ahead and remove the factory mounting bracket that goes to the axle. We won't be reusing it on the new tie rod. It's just 3 bolts using a 13 millimeter. All right, now we're gonna take the drag link off and we're gonna start on the passenger side, removing this nut with the 21 millimeter socket. One wants to spin too, so we'll just switch over to our 21 millimeter and 10 millimeter wrenches. Leave it on there, a couple of threads just to support it while we're taking the other side off. Come over to the driver's side, at the steering linkage. Got another 21 millimeter nut sitting on there.
want to go ahead and remove. Now, this one might be wedged in there a little tighter than others, so we'll end up using a pickle fork. If you have one, an air hammer would work too. Okay, now that we have the nut off, we're gonna go ahead and drive our pickle fork in just below the steering linkage. Okay, now come back over the passenger side. Just drop it down. Okay, now that we have our drag link out, you can see the differences between the new Synergy drag link and the stock Jeep drag link. Larger heads, adjustable on both ends compared to the stock, which wasn't. This one is substantially beefier and heavier. But same with the tie rod, make sure boots are nice and seated, everything looks good. These are greasable as well, and the stock ones weren't. They were just pre-packed at the factory. They come pre-filled, so don't grease it. Just every once in a while, one single pump of grease just to kind of maintain them. Okay, now we need to go ahead and get our new drag link set up. Comes with all the hardware from Synergy. If you're doing the over-the-top modification to mount your drag link on top instead, it does come with an adapter sleeve, and you will have to drill out the mount. But I'm just going back with a stock setup with it underneath. So we are going to go through and get this adjusted. On the Pitman arm side, the double adjuster, no more than 3.5 inches from the center line to the edge of the rod. Anything less is fine. And on our knuckle side, we've got, it says to start out with 1/2 inch, which is pretty much bottom down, and no more than 3 inches on this side. So we'll take our tape and we're gonna measure center line to center line of our old drag link, which I've got 41 5/8. Okay, so we're gonna come over to our new one. And right at 40 inches. So we got a little bit of adjusting to do. Okay, so we know we're about 1 5/8 shorter than the stock one right now. So we'll just screw this out. Give us about an extra inch of adjustment, and we'll remeasure. So now 41 1/4. Here more. And when you're adjusting it, make sure you hold the head. That way the double adjuster adjusts both instead of just unthreading just the adjuster nut. Almost there. That should give us 41 5/8. So now that we're at the exact same length as the stock, we can go ahead and start our clamp bolts just to kind of hold everything from pivoting as we're installing it on the Jeep. You will have to do some fine tuning and adjusting once you get it on. For these, you will just need a 3/4 inch wrench and socket. Just standard. These are pinch nuts or lock nuts, so it'll take a little more force to put them on. And you don't want to tighten them down all the way, you just want to snug them just to keep them from flopping around. go ahead and remove the crown nuts for now. And the kit does come with a spare nut and the cotter pins for locking them in place. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put it on. Okay, now that the drag link has got the initial measurement set, we're gonna go ahead and get it installed. Single adjuster side. We'll go to our knuckle here. Bring her up. Start the crown nut just to hold it in place. Now I'm gonna go over to the other side and get that side started. Okay, and take a 21mm wrench. I'm just gonna snug these up for now. All right, so that side's snugged. Okay, snugged. Now, when you're adjusting this and aiming it, you want the bend to be pointing straight out. That way it clears everything when you're in full flex. All right, now that we have the bar on, the bolts are snugged, they do recommend having the slit in the adjuster bolt turn to match the slit in the drag link itself. So you just kind of hold on to it, grab a crescent wrench, and turn. It may mess with your adjustment a little bit, but we can fix that later. We're just trying to get this lined up. Okay, so slits are lined up. Now we can go ahead and torque our castle nuts. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and torque those down. So we're gonna set a torque wrench to 55 foot-pounds. It's a little tricky to sneak it up in there. Okay, so that side's good. We'll go torque the other end. Same as this side, 21mm, torque to 55 foot-pounds. Okay, so now I'm gonna double check, make sure our bend is still forward, bar is sitting where we want, and we're gonna go ahead and torque down our clamp bolts to 90 foot-pounds. And that just takes a 3/4 inch wrench and socket. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and torque down this side as well to 55 foot-pounds. Okay, now we wanna go ahead and install our cotter pins. With these nuts, if you look at the hole, if it's off a little bit, always tighten to get to the hole, don't loosen it. So we'll just turn it just a little bit. And want it just enough that we can get our cotter pin all the way through. And tighten to get it to line up. Oh, it's right in the middle. Okay, so making sure drag link's right where we want it. Now we're gonna go ahead and torque down two pinch nuts to 90 foot-pounds. You'll just need a 3/4 inch socket and wrench. 100 pounds. Okay, come over to the other side. Okay, now we're gonna torque down this one, 90 foot-pounds as well. Ooh. Okay. All right, now that the drag link's in, we're gonna go ahead and install our new tie rod. Now, Synergy says to start off with the non-adjustable side first. For stock Jeeps, I believe it was 4 turns. For the Rubicon like mine, it says to take it threaded all the way in and then 10 full turns out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we'll start with that. And then come down here, and we are gonna have to measure our old rod and our new rod and preset the lengths. Same as the drag link, we're gonna measure from the center of the pin on the center of the pin is exactly 61 inches. Come over to the new one. We're sitting 59 5/8. So we'll go ahead and adjust this out. Ooh, really close. 60 7/8. Here more. Okay. I should just about do it. We're at 61 inches. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and install the pinch bolts just to kind of keep us from moving around too much. Now, Synergy does say, same as their drag links, the measurements, the maximum from center to the edge on the non-adjustable side is your 3 inches and 3.5 inches on the double nut side. Okay, and we'll kind of pre-align the slits. What? Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and install this thing on the Jeep. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing installed. So we're gonna have to take it, slide it up in there. Kind of run it down by hand for now. Swing it over the other side. And then we'll just, we'll go ahead and just run this down. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to take some initial measurements just to make sure we're not too far off and make it a little faster once we get the wheels and tires installed. So in the front, I'm looking 66.25. Okay, let's go to the back of the caliper. Or the disc, sorry. Just below the, I'm at 65.5. Okay, so you're definitely off, which this is a lot easier to adjust it now before we put the wheels and tires on. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch. Okay, split it so not too far apart. We need to suck this in just a little bit. Go ahead and check it again. It's a lot easier with a second person to help you. Okay, so we are at exactly 66. Go to the back side again. Closer, we're at 65.75. So another 1/8 inch or so of adjustment. Okay. gonna split the difference in times. Now, 65 and 15/16. 65 and 7/8. So I'm really close. And this is all just initial measurements. We're gonna get the, okay. We're not gonna torque down the clamp bolts or the castle nuts yet. We're gonna wait. We're gonna go ahead and get the tires back on this thing and get it all lined up. All right, so pre-measurements are set, everything's good. So we'll go ahead and toss the wheels and put it back on here. But we want to leave it up on the jack stand still so we can be able to rotate the tires around as we're doing our adjustments. And we'll torque all these down once we get the tires back on the ground. Now just snug them up. So now that we got tires back on, we're still off the ground, so it'll turn. Best way, make a mark. Just kind of center line of the tire, follow the rib if it's still there. If not, make a mark on the tire, both sides. And this will just be measuring for the toe. So we can make sure we can just rotate the tire around the backside and be able to measure front and rear of the tire. All right, so now that we've got the marks on the tires, we can go ahead and check it. That's what I do. Center and then rotate the tire up until we touch. There it goes. Skid plate. All right, just hold still. We're at 64.5. Dead on too. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and rotate the tire where that line is facing the rear. All right, so now we're at 64 and 3/8. So we are off just a hair, but fine-tune measurements. We're just gonna grab our double adjuster nut, give it a small turn, and then we'll double check the measurements again. And take it, and it's not gonna take too much. All right, let's double check our measurements. We'll rotate the tires back to the front and then repeat the process. It'll be a little bit of back and forth, but we wanna make sure we get it as close as we can. I know some people say you should have at least a 1/16 of an inch towed in, or as if you can, perfect oil line. All right, so same with the drag link and the tie rod. The slots that are in the adjustment nut, they want lined up with the slot in the rod. Now, because they want a little bit of toe in, that's 1/16 of an inch. So now we'll double check it, and if we're still good on our measurement, we'll go ahead and torque down all of our nuts. All right, so now that we've got our toe end set, I'm gonna go ahead and torque down castle nut to 55 foot-pounds using our 21mm socket. A little glare there, can't see. And then we want to install a cotter pin, making sure we turn to tighten to line up the hole instead of loosen. All right, so we got it torqued down now. Oh, how lucky is that? Sometimes you do get lucky. Perfect torque, and it is lined up first shot.
hard part's doing this and staying out of the way so the camera can see. All right, we'll just All right, so we'll just bend this around. There we go. And we do the same to the other side. This side is a lot harder to get to, so we'll just zip the wheel back off, torque it, and then toss the wheel back on. All right, so we'll go ahead and torque this one down. 55 foot-pounds with our 21 millimeter socket. This is a lot easier to get to now. Okay, install our keeper cotter pin. Hole's a little off, so we're gonna turn this one to tighten just until the hole is lined up. Go. So now we're all torqued down. We'll go ahead and torque our clamp bolts to 90 foot-pounds. All right, so we'll go ahead and torque this down. 3/4 inch socket, 55 foot-pounds. I am using a 6-inch extension just to make it easier to clear everything. And there's one. We'll go to the other side. All right, so let's go ahead. Get this torqued down. 90 foot-pounds as well. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and toss the other tire back on and get this thing back on the ground. All right, so we'll go ahead and toss the tire back on. Okay, so we'll go ahead and lower this back down, get it off the jack stands, and then double check the toe measurement. So before we set it back down, just to make it easier to double check, just rotate your marks back around to where you can see them, and we can try and get a nice measurement once we set it back down. So we'll just roll the jack back underneath there and get the jack stands out from underneath it. Now that we have it back down on the ground, we'll double check our toe measurement, and then we'll also double check our steering wheel alignment, make sure we don't need to adjust anything. We don't have the tie rod clamp back on it. I haven't received it yet. I'll be here for tomorrow. Once you have the tie rod, everything tightened down, torqued back on the ground, with this kit, you do not have the steering stabilizer installed yet. So what we'll have to do is install the relocation kit, which means replacing the bolt on your track bar, lower bolt, and adding the clamp to the tie rod itself, which is kind of nice because it does mount the steer stabilizer cylinder above the tie rod. Keeps it kind of up out of the way a little bit more. Okay, so now we'll double check to make sure we're still towed in that 1/16 of an inch, which I'm pretty sure we will be on the center of the tire. Yep. Good. Right at 64 7/16. Good. Right at 64 and a half. So that puts us 1/16 towed in. So we are torqued down, lined up, ready for a test drive. Once you're done with the test drive, it is a good idea to take it, retorque every bolt, double check everything. Let everything kind of settle, and then double check the torque again, about 100 miles or so. Okay, we'll go ahead and take the strap off the steering wheel. Hopefully our steering wheel alignment's still pretty close. It should be. So, center. And it might be off just a little bit, which is easy enough adjustment. I think we'll test drive it first, make sure everything's settled, and kind of get a feel for it with it driving to see how far off it is and if it does actually need to be adjusted.
Okay guys, the test drive was good. Everything was straight, steering wheel is nice and aligned, so there's no further adjustment needed. Now that that's all complete, we're gonna go ahead and install our Synergy stabilizer relocation kit. Got a clamp for the tie rod and a new bolt that takes the place of the lower track bar bolt. That way you have a place to mount the cylinder, and then that clamps. Comes with all the hardware, good instructions. So let's get started.
Okay, so we're gonna start by removing the axle and track bar bolt. And the new bolt from Synergy will take its place so you have a place to mount your cylinder. So, 22 millimeter socket, if you have one, impact, if not, just a ratchet. You will be reusing the flag nut, so make sure you hold on to that. Go ahead and remove the little mount nut or bolt at the end. Make it easier to go in. And if you noticed, my track bar did shift because of the way I had it parked, so we just need to either have somebody get in, turn the wheel for you, get it to shift back over, or you can try prying it back over with a pry bar. One other option for lining up this bolt on the track bar, since I don't have a second set of hands with me right now, take a floor jack and a block of wood, and right at the frame side track bar mounting bolt, if you can get a block of wood in there, put it right up against the edge of the bracket, but not on the track bar itself, so the track bar doesn't try to pivot. You can lift up and get the suspension to flex, it'll lift the frame, pull that right over, and be able to put that bolt right in by hand. Okay, so bolts all lined up. Grab our new track bar mounting bolt. Go ahead and put on flag nut on the back side. All right, so that's started on there good. That bolt was torqued down to 150 pounds. Now this Synergy says you should put red Loctite on that bolt. But if you do that with that type of bolt, it will be pretty much a permanent fixture. So I'm not going to be putting red Loctite on it today. Because this is just kind of a test. If I like this, maybe I decide I want to go with something else. There we go, 150 foot-pounds. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lower the jack down now. So now, I'm going to be reusing the stock steering stabilizer cylinder. So what we want to do, if you're doing it by yourself like I am, hop in, turn it all the way over. It will spring back when you shut the motor off, but if you take that into account, compress the cylinder an extra, or release the cylinder a quarter inch, it should line up under the clamp. So let's go ahead and get it turned. Got the wheels turned hard over. Okay, so now I'm gonna toss this clamp set up on there. There's 2 holes in the top of this, a 1/2 inch and a 5/8. For this one, we'll be using the 1/2 inch hole. So we want that 1/2 inch hole towards the steering stabilizer side. So it'll just sit on there, and we'll start our bolts into that. 6 bolts that's mounted all together. We're just gonna put them in there loose for now, just so we can get it lined up. Just use your 1/4 inch Allen wrench, or if you have Allen sockets, just use a wrench just to get them started. And when you're tightening this down, got to make sure you don't get it off to where one side's pinched tight and the other side's wide open. You want to try and get it as even as you can as you're tightening it down. We have it on there, our smaller 1/2 inch hole towards the stud. Now, I believe we need to drill these out to a full 1/2 inch. Yeah. Both ends of the steering stabilizer, you'll need to take a 1/2 inch drill bit and drill these out to get it to fit over the stud and the 1/2 inch bolt that'll be mounting it to the clamp. So let's do that real quick. All right, so we'll go ahead and get clamp securely in a vise if you have one. And then we're going to grab our 1/2 inch drill bit and just open that up a little bit. Side. Drilled all the way through. There we go. These should fit on there nicely now. Okay, now that we have it all drilled out, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing installed. Okay, so with the steering hard to passenger, I'll go ahead and get this on there loose for now. This, you want to collapse the cylinder all the way, and then because it kind of bumps back when you shut it off, I'm going to give it a 1/4 inch of extension, and then we'll check it. Make sure we don't bind once we're on. But this will tell us where we need to set the clamp. One washer on each side. So now we'll go ahead, snug up the clamp bolts. Making sure we get us a nice even gap from side to side, so we know it's clamped on well. Now, the 6 clamp bolts, they want torque down to 15 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go 50 on the 1/2 inch mounting bolt. Once those are all torqued and tight, we'll be able to test this thing out. Okay. Okay, everything's tight. Let's give it a try.
So that's going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Synergy Heavy Duty Steering Kit fitting all 2018 and newer JL Wranglers. For more videos and products just like this, remember to always keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.